Welcome, sleuths, suspects, and witnesses. Here we are once again in the Zoom room doing amazingly fun things. We're having a blast. We're doing a mystery. We're doing a scavenger hunt. We're doing author readings. There's so much going on. I had to take notes. Here we go. Tonight, here's our nightly schedule as it has been all month long. I'm trying to keep us as close to this timeline as possible to be respectful of your evening. I know you all have 8,000 other things to do. I do want to remind you, though, that tomorrow we will not be in the Zoom room. Tomorrow we will be breathing. Inhale, exhale, eating brownies, that kind of thing. So don't look for us tomorrow, but come back into the room on the 15th. We will be back. Tonight, we have two amazing authors reading for us. I love the fact that we get to read, we get to hear little pieces of books from authors of all different genres and all different styles. It's one of the biggest reasons I do these festivals. It's because it's very self-serving. I love to have you guys read me your stories. Tonight, we're going to start with Kristoffer Gair. He is going to read from his book. I always get this wrong, Chris. The Beautiful Moment. Thank you very much. I always want to use the wrong article. So one more time, show to the screen so we can see it again. Kristoffer's book is The Beautiful Moment. This is a lovely book. You guys are going to really, really enjoy this reading. Kristoffer, when you are ready, please take the microphone and read aloud.
Will do. Quick preface. The first part I'm going to read is from the prologue where the main character is 5 years old. I'm going to jump into the first chapter where he is close to 40 years old. Also, his great-grandmother who's mentioned, his nickname when he was 5 years old for her was Gamma Gamma. So that's what you're going to hear. Wesley. Andrea sat on the edge of his bed and tousled her son's hair. She should let him sleep. The day had been difficult for him. He'd managed to stay away from his uncles most of the time, but they still sought him out. The more things Wesley did for his great-grandmother, and the more praise her own mother gave him for helping, the more Ronald and Terence went after him. Hey, she gently shook her son. I need you to wake up, little guy. He struggled with the unwelcome rise to consciousness, and his eyes finally fluttered open. Mom? Grandma just called. She tried her best not to let her voice crack, not with this news. Gamma Gamma went away. I know, he whispered. It's okay. He couldn't have heard her correctly. There was no way he could know. How do you... She told me, Wesley beamed. She whispered she loves me, you, Dad, and Grandma. She told me not to be sad because she'll always be with us, and she'll always walk behind me like we did today. Andrea choked back a sob. Did she tell you that in a dream? She was standing right next to my bed and said Great-Grandpa was waiting for her. She looked so happy. She also said we'll see her again one day. Tears blurred Andrea's vision, but she did her best to keep from falling apart. Her 5-year-olds didn't need to see that. She also hadn't addressed the day's events with him and had debated if she should. Wesley, I know you heard Uncle Ronald and Uncle Terence say some things today they shouldn't have. You're not a mistake. Your father and I wanted you, and we love you very, very much. We always will, no matter where you or we are. She reached out and grasped his shoulder. Her brothers had picked on Wesley almost from the day he was born. She'd begun to suspect that they were being mean to him in ways she and Jerry hadn't seen, and Wesley hadn't told them about. Your uncles don't know any better. They should, but they don't. They don't like me, he whispered. They don't know you. They have no idea how special you are. Wesley closed his eyes and waited for his mother to shut the bedroom door. She looked a little surprised when he told her about Gamma Gamma. Maybe she didn't believe him, and that was okay. He knew Gamma Gamma had visited him and remembered every word of their conversation. She told him he'd forget one day, and that would be okay too. For now, though, he continued to bask in the warmth of the memory she left him with. He leaned over, grabbed a little toy flashlight he kept next to him on his nightstand, and held it closer to the ground. There, side by side, a short distance apart, remained the indentations in the carpet from where Gamma Gamma had stood a little while ago, before his mother came in with the news. Wesley smiled. Love you, Gamma Gamma. Chapter 1. Wesley sat in the tiny waiting room, listened to a less than hopeful update on the TV about the pandemic, and watched as newly tabulated numbers of infected individuals and deaths flashed on the screen. The door opened and a nurse manager poked her head in. Wesley? An even tone, a practiced tone. Bad news. She wasn't saying what they both knew. Only her eyes told him everything she couldn't and wouldn't say. Dr. Caparosi says it's time. You'll need to put these on. She handed him an isolation gown, N95 mask, gloves, face shield, and then helped him make sure all was secure before leaving the room. Wesley followed her down the hallway, past other doctors and nurses. Still, so much the world didn't know about COVID, and so much guessing. The nurse manager continued down the long hallway and finally stopped outside room 7335. He stepped through the door and into a place very few patients left alive. 2 people stood by the bed. They studied the readout on the ventilator, then slowly turned towards him. Dr. Caparosi motioned with his hand for him to come closer. Wesley moved around to the left side of the bed. So many tubes, so many machines. Some patients had been laid out on their stomachs, which helped, but then there came a time when it no longer did, when oxygen started to fall and nothing could bring the level up, and the beginning of the end started. The sound of the ventilator hummed away, white noise that would soon be silent. Wesley glanced over at the readings. No, not good, not long now. He turned his attention back to the patient, one of the few people who truly loved him in this life, and who he truly loved in return. Her eyes opened just a little, then a little more when she saw him standing there. Mom. Wesley saw understanding in her eyes. She knew. She knew this was her end, and she wasn't going into whatever came next without him seeing her cross the finish line. His mother's fingers flexed, and she struggled to move her right hand towards him. Touch. His mother had always been tactile. The habit had driven him nuts as a child. She always wanted to hold his hand, and had even saved him by dragging him out of a pool once when he'd nearly drowned. Held his hand when his first love broke his heart. Held his hand when he'd gotten 22 stitches in his back. Wesley reached out and grasped her hand. Would it be enough? No. Her eyes implored him, needed him to help her finish the journey the way she wanted. He nodded, then used his left hand to start pulling off the right glove. Wesley, Dr. Caparosi took a step closer to him. You can't. We don't know what could happen. Wesley finished removing his glove, then grasped his mother's hand once more and leaned in. I'm here, Mom. I'm right here, and I'm holding you tight. You helped me into this world, gave me all the love I could ask for, and then some. Rest now. Go be with Dad and Grandma. Go be with Gamma Gamma. Tell them I love them. His voice cracked. I'm gonna miss you like crazy, but you've done your part, so it's time I do mine. I love you. I always will. And I know you'll be watching over me, offering your hand to me when I need you most. Tears fell from his mother's eyes. The machine continued its work, only the numbers on the monitor continued to fall. She finally closed her eyes, and he gradually felt her grip loosen until she was gone. Wesley removed his hand, gently set hers down next to her, and stood straight. Dr. Caparosi and the nurse stood there watching him, yet remained respectfully quiet. Wesley entered the hallway and turned right, towards the lounge where he could take his personal protective equipment off. Damn you, oopsie baby, a voice snarled. Wesley turned and caught a glimpse of a man standing there. Only a glimpse, but just enough. A man he recognized, his uncle, Ronald. Uncle Ronald, who he hadn't seen in months. Something coming towards Wesley's face. The impact knocked Wesley backwards, down onto the floor. A shadow loomed over him. Damn you anyway, his uncle shouted. Something else flashed towards Wesley's face. A foot. Pain. A fading of thought, a fading of strength, a fading of will. All gone, heading towards unconsciousness. But voices. Shouting, accusations, warnings. Finally, blissful silence.
Wow. Thank you very, very much. That was amazing. Wow. Almost made me cry, Kristoffer. Thanks.
Almost made myself cry again.
You did a great job.
I can tell you wholeheartedly, if you didn't at least tear up in that, you have problems. So.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Okay, inhale, exhale. Well done, sir. Now we are going to move over to Preethi. Preethi, please turn your microphone on. Preethi is a wonderful human being. I love her book. We had such great fun with this. This is called Pearls of My Mind. And I was very honored that Preethi asked me to read to write the preface for the book. So that was so cool. I mean, I'm like, it was such an honor. I really, really appreciate you trusting me with that. And I know I'm gushing here a little bit, guys, but writing the preface for someone is just the highest honor. It's very, very cool.
But you wrote so beautifully. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think the rest of the book is better than my preface. Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you're here to read for us tonight, and you have so many supporters here in the room tonight too. So I am sorry, but out of respect, I'm not going to butcher your last name. So if you would please introduce us to you.
Yeah, I'm Preethi Saravanakumar, and I write poetry and nonfiction and some children's picture book I've released. Tomorrow there's one picture book releasing. I'll give you all the link if you all are free.
Yeah,
please do attend the party.
After you're done with your reading, please put that in the chat so that we can all come.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So when you are ready, Preethi, please take the microphone and read aloud.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Red pearls. Red pearls are like basic notes of survival. Like blood, they are real, raw, and essential. Their existence is, the entire existence is taking care of the nutrients needed to exist and operate. The red color, a primary color, is often misinterpreted as symbolizing only negative emotions like anger and deception. In reality, red is not negative at all. In fact, no color is negative. Every color has its own value and significance. Some are more valuable than others. We see what we are, as simple as that. Let's compare red with the root chakra, which is Muladhara. This chakra, which is located at the base of the human spine, is the primal base, that which holds one upright with instinct. Like roots growing deep, without a base, there's no structure. To be a foundation holding up everything securely requires a fair amount of strength, rage, and willpower. There's no progress without this rush of vigor that brings equalizing perseverance. The root being connected to the physical, the element associated with it is earth. Earth has grounding and natural childlike energy. The planet represented by red chakra is Mars. Like Earth, Mars is known to bring friendly natural dynamism, courage, and physical strength to the human body. In the journey of life, there are points when one wants to give up or cry aloud in frustration. These actions only make the progress stronger by venting out all that is not needed, purging all that is hindering the process. In truth, these points are not low points, but points of rejuvenation and refueling. If we feel angry, we rant. If we feel tired, we cry. If we feel lost, we gather. Red is liberating. With no feeling of fear, we foster survival and stability. We remove any greed and confusion or obstacles to progress. Red pearls are beautiful and bold. They carry all the qualities of the color and radiate the same shine. If we think about how each person reacts or resists in a given situation, it is obvious that every person is unique and every situation is different. That means there's no event that occurs again exactly the same way. So then, can there really be a how-to guide? I don't think so. But There could be scenarios of actions and reactions that offer perspective. What if we knew how a person would act in different levels of his emotions? I'm sorry. What if we knew how a person would act in different levels of his or her emotional growth? Let's say a spiritual newbie is a beginner operating from his or her lower emotions. This is not a sin. It is a phase of growth. Everybody starts here. We are all placed in the spot when we are born. As we grow, we change and move spots. This does not mean that grown-ups don't come back to the lower spot. No spot is constant. With your emotions, you change up and down every minute, much like mercury in a thermometer. You keep fluctuating and changing spots, temperature being the emotions. This means that during the given day, we change our positions constantly. Seeker is the next level of growth, where he or she processes emotions before reacting. In an attempt to seek possibilities and personal growth, he searches for information. The more answers he gains, he questions more. This is the seeking phase where one is open to new perspectives and expressions. The seeker phase is the new abundance, where there is a million new unexplored doors waiting to be opened. It's a trial and error phase of life, including the luxury of experiencing life to the fullest with an open mind and heart. Once he or she realizes the interest or purpose to fulfill their current passion, they move on to the next spiritual level. Sage is the next level, where he or she has learned everything that's needed to be learned, has contemplated and asked questions. He has reached a stage of equilibrium where he knows to weigh consequences and he chooses to be in the higher emotional spaces. When one gets to this level, he or she identifies simplicity. They realize everything surrounding reality is an illusion, so they master the secret of detachment and enjoy being in that space. But really, is it possible to remain in this space forever? Only sages and saints can, I believe. They seclude to a place where none of the external factors exist to disturb their stability. They do not allow anything to change their settings. In fact, everybody touches the space and leaves every day. It may be for a second or a minute. One who can stay longer in the space, even when everything around him or her is shaking, is equivalent to a sage who lives on top of a sacred mountain, nothing less. Let's see how these three resist or react when pressurized by the lower spectrum of red emotions. Red can represent passion or the lower emotions, anger and fear. For instance, what would you do when in anger or fear at these stages of existence? The spiritual newbie would probably cry or yell out and let out feelings of aggression or fear, or perhaps would quietly go into depression to deal with the sense of helplessness. The seeker would think and stop before reacting. He would probably have lots of questions and would try to see other perspectives. The sage would take all surrounding emotions and diffuse them into nothingness. He would probably not react at all, for he knows that this is not the end. All these phases are great. Nothing is worst or best. It depends on where we choose to be, in which situation, and at what time. And if that decision helps us in any way to grow or to move a step closer to becoming our best selves, then that is the way to go.
Yay! Thank you very,
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you so much. That was lovely. I really enjoyed
Thank
this
you.
book.
Thank you
Again,
so much.
Preethi is having a launch party tomorrow, so she will put the she'll put the link in the chat for everybody. And then she will also share it on our Facebook page. Such awesome readers. Thank you very, very much. Again, Preethi, hold up your book so everybody can see it. This is called Pearls of My Mind. And Kristoffer, your book is The Beautiful Moment. Beautiful, wonderful, spectacular. Okay, here we go, you guys. This is the part of the night you've all been waiting for. I just know it because I know this crowd. Boy, oh boy, do I know this crowd.
What have we been waiting for?
Turn on your microphones, turn on your cameras. It's time for the mystery of the missing manuscript. The sardonic manuscript has been stolen.
By Deborah Reed.
We don't know who did it, and we don't know why. The suspects: Chloe Holiday, a mysterious character; Melinda Falco, a researcher; Ruby Fink, a psychic; Andrew Allen Smith, an historical author; Amy Kelso, head librarian; Jules Nelson, library director; Marianne Whelan, cafe manager; Deborah Reed, reporter. Who took the book? All right, you guys, it's time. Open up your microphones. Let's start the interrogations. Who wants to go first? Go ahead. Kristoffer, is that you? No? Look,
That
the
look says
look
no.
on your face was perfect. Oh my gosh, I couldn't have planned that any better. All right, because we have so many people in the room, I can't see everybody's hands, so just jump in and ask a question, and I'll do the best I can to manage all of your questions simultaneously. Who's going to go first?
Hey, Jules, do you have in your library, is there a maintenance closet that has like mops and things like that?
Interesting.
I would assume so.
She wouldn't know because
I've
she
never
doesn't do
actually
that kind of thing.
used it.
But
you'd probably
yes,
have
of
to ask
course
me.
there is
A
one.
mop?
Okay, I'm just wondering if somebody may have stuck the book in there.
You think I didn't check there too? I have looked
I don't
everywhere for
know.
this book, but thank you for mentioning it. But yes, I think it's been checked. I have not seen the book there. No.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Go ahead.
Jules, who are you going to replace Amy with? Do you have like a particular replacement in mind?
Andrew.
Andrew.
So far, the people I've interviewed with have not come up to standards because one of them thought it would be okay to let them have coffee next to the computers. And another one didn't know the Dewey Decimal System. So
Oh no.
I have not found anyone that exceeds Amy's qualifications.
It just can't replace
Standard
me.
library humans.
Face it. Ugh.
Substandard library humans. Here's what I'm interested in, Andrew. You are an expert in the way of antiquities, as we've been talking about for the last 13 days.
Antiquities are my way. This
When-
is the way.
When I came into the library, I noticed that in the lobby there is a display of antiques. Can you say anything about that?
Well, which ones? There are lots of different antiques. I could give you some paths, but if you want me to just go down and describe them, we'll be here all night because they have everything from, if you remember right at the front, they have the antique school desks. And if you notice, it was kind of bad because they still have some of the hardware in them. And sometimes that hardware, it can ruin floors, and they didn't pay as much attention to it as they should have. They should have padded it up. But you know, they were very well restored, and they'd be worth a little bit of money. That antique phonograph that's over to the left when you go in.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
You know, all those things, they're all worth a little bit of money. And I don't know if Jules knows that. Maybe she should start an auction company with these things that are inside of her particular library.
They don't belong to her just because she owns the library.
Well, it would make it better, so maybe she could get some higher quality help.
Not possible, Mr. Smith. Not possible.
Okay, anybody else have a question? Jennifer Rains, go ahead.
Have the desks in the lobby been searched? These antique desks?
That's an interesting question. Amy, Jules, have you looked in the antique desks?
I don't know. Amy, have you looked?
I have been looking everywhere, but I kind of did not actually look through the lobby as well as some of the other places because I was focused on the thing is that the lobby is past the sensors. So to get them in the desk would have gone the sensors off, which is why I have not looked there quite as hard as I should. But I can check that as soon as I can. Yes, I'll definitely.
Well, you know, we have the day off tomorrow. You can absolutely
I will do that. Yes.
take the day tomorrow to look.
Because
Anyone else have?
Everyone knows I have no other life, so I will be spending it looking in the library.
Librarians don't have lives. Are you kidding? Jules, go ahead.
So Andrew, you're saying that the hardware looked like it scratched the floor. Does it look like they'd been moved recently? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's just that a lot of times when they get taken out of the school, they don't take all the screws out. You could say they got a screw loose, but
You could say that.
keep your eye on them because they have a tendency to gouge things. It don't look like they've been tearing it up yet, but I'd be taking all that hardware out because it's the old style screws, not like these new. Put them in a machine, you get 50 at a time. These were handmade screws with hand cut slots, and you don't see those very often. Even the screws might be worth something.
TMI, Andrew.
We are the guardian of these antiquities. We're not going to sell them.
As a note, in the other room, I have these desks. I have the antique school desks. So that's okay. I'm back to me. I'm back.
So I have a question for Jules.
Go ahead.
Why did you allow Andrew to be in there if he wasn't supposed to be in there in the first place?
Well, he could obviously enter because there's no reason why he couldn't, but I had not agreed to him having a book reading and a signing. So when he showed up, he just decided that he was going to accost the other patrons instead of actually having an event. So,
you know, this isn't Soviet Russia or not. You can't keep people out of libraries. We don't have libraries.
Well, you just said he was accosting people. So why didn't Amy and Jules remove him?
Oh, I tried, but some people thought he deserved to be there just like any other person who belongs in the library. Although being allowed like that means that he probably should have been escorted out, in my opinion.
But
Oh, he just comes over. He just comes over to the cafe. He comes over to the cafe and he does the same thing in there. That mouth is never quiet.
No kidding.
Between that
When I
one and Melinda, oh my God. Oh.
I don't know. I don't know that there Marianne too. She seems to go rocket fast too, but I don't know.
No.
Not for me to judge not, lest you be judged. I ain't.
See, you hear that? Follows me all around the cafe, all around, telling me how wealthy he is and how many books he's sold, and brag, right in the customers' faces. And I see him looking at those tips left on those tables. I missed that. I see his eyes looking at those things. So, yeah, he can tell me he's wealthy all he wants. I think if I turned my back for a minute, he would have been pocketing half of those. There you have it.
Disparaging remark by a terrible person. I feel so sad right now. I feel sad for her disparaging remark.
I'm very curious. I have a question. Deborah, you mentioned, I went back and watched some of these replays. You mentioned that you were at an auction where a copy of the Gutenberg Bible was stolen. Were there other things stolen, missing, or misplaced at that auction?
Good luck getting a straight answer out of her.
Do you recall, Deborah?
Well, I mean, there had been some other thefts that I have heard of recently. I don't know if they were from that particular auction. But there have been, I think, like 3 other ones, but they weren't all books either. So I don't know if they were related at all, in that sense, like if it's just like a book thief or, whatever. But yeah, there were a few other things. that
But
have been recently.
you've been doing this Crime Beat blog here for a little while. I read a couple of your articles, and it seems
Why,
like
thank you.
well, I try to keep up. So it seems like there might be. I think I recall something about paintings and an antique pocket watch, perhaps. Andrew, do you know anything about antique pocket watches?
I know a little about antique pocket watches, but pocket watches and big old clocks, you got to take the specialty people because they got lots of little tinkery stuff inside them.
Tinkery stuff. That's a professional term, right?
That is a professional term.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Chloe, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, Lynn had one in the chat, actually, whether the book is soft cover or hardcover, and then I have one too.
Jules, do you recall, is the book hardcover or soft cover?
Let me check my notes.
While she's checking her notes, Chloe, what's your second question?
Yeah, with Deborah Reed being a blogger and reporter and interested in this and knowing that there might have been other thefts, were there also other origami animals found?
Yes.
Look, Kristoffer, a straight answer.
Tell us about those.
Yes.
It was a half answer.
It was a direct. She
He
Chloe
offered
asked a yes
nothing
or no.
else other than a yes or no. That was it.
Okay, so
But
yes,
how
there
much more
were.
direct can you get? I mean, I got to stand up for Deborah here for a second. How
Cute.
much more direct can you get besides yes or no?
What other kinds of animals were there, Deborah?
Go ahead. You can tell us, Deborah.
I am so doing.
I know
this
that you're
story I'm
trying to.
writing. Okay.
I know you're trying to protect your sources, but you can just tell us.
see,
We're not going to tell
You
anybody.
have to trust me though. If I reveal my sources all the time, then they're never going to trust me. But seriously, you guys will not get off my back. So fine. Yes, they were origami horses.
All of them were horses?
All of them were horses. Did I stutter? Miss Lawler?
I guess you heard that, right?
Did they all look just like this?
Well, I don't know. I didn't see them all. I just know that they were left there.
How many is all?
They were.
Well, like I said, there were the three other thefts or whatever along with
Yeah,
the
I
Bible.
recall, Deborah, I think you mentioned earlier that there were 3 other thefts.
Yes.
So that's
Just
the
all
Gutenberg
book.
Bible, a painting, and a pocket watch?
Well, I don't know about the other ones. I just know about the Gutenberg Bible. I just know when there were 3 other thefts. I don't know what they were of.
Okay.
I do know, though, I remember reading in one of your articles that those other 2 items were at the auction. So I don't recall if they were stolen or not, but I do remember that they were at the auction.
Sure.
Spoken like a Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter.
Yes.
So, Chloe, if you're a mysterious person, how many times have you been actually visiting the library?
This library?
Yes.
This is my first one.
Oh, that's.
And now I can't leave.
Well, and
Okay,
here's
but how many
now-
times have you visited the library, though?
This library, one.
Yes, just one. Okay.
Yes.
So here's my interesting question for Chloe. You mentioned the other night that you were in mergers and acquisitions. That seems to be a fairly lucrative business. Why would you be coming to do research on the library computer? I mean,
Well,
wouldn't you have
have
one of your own?
Well, I don't want it to break or. I mean, I spilled coffee like 3 times this whole session. You guys, I
That's
can't.
why we don't
with
allow
all of-
coffee by the computers
That's
and
right.
the books.
That's right. So there's a reason I'm not a ballerina. All right. So I borrow the library computers when I travel. It's easier than mine getting broken or stolen or lost or forgetting my cord and having to buy a $70 airport cord. And you know, if I'm looking for new ideas, you know, I am checking the news and even gossip sites, you know, all the time, looking for what might be out there.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions?
I have a question for Amy. Amy, is this area for reference section, is it in a different room that you open and close, or is it just on a regular table next to reference section?
It's kind of closed off, you know, with shelves and stuff. So it's not actually
Okay.
a separate room, but it is closed off. And
So
I
it's
do,
not like behind plexiglass. Or anything.
no,
No,
it's
it's
just
not,
kind of
yeah.
closed off, but I do keep a very close eye on who goes in and out of that section. Yes.
Okay.
All right. I have an interesting question. Andrew and Jules, I hate to say this, but as the president of the Friends of the Library Society, I did happen to overhear a conversation the two of you had. Something about, Andrew, there was a Sanskrit book that you would like to buy from the library because it has antique properties. I believe you guys were having that conversation. What is it with you and the antiques, Andrew? I mean,
Well, I think I've already established that I am a purveyor of fine antiques. So
so
Sanskrit-
Jules, were you considering selling him this volume in Sanskrit that he was asking about?
Absolutely not. I just didn't want everybody else to overhear the conversation. I just wanted to have the conversation behind closed doors, telling him that we're the guardians of
Sorry,
these.
I was walking down the corridor and I happened to overhear the two of you.
I honored that, and you went ahead and blabbed it out to everybody. See how you are? I just blab, blab, blab.
The title
Oh.
is President of Friends of the Library, right?
Yeah, but it's still an honorary position.
She was just being a friend of us here at the library. And I happen to know that I perhaps heard a little of that conversation as well. Not much, about as much as Diana did, but does make me wonder.
Yeah, I happened to overhear specifically the words coming from Andrew, sizable donation.
Another one?
Seems to ring a bell.
There weren't no sizable donation because she won't give me up that book. I don't give sizable donations just so I can get back in the library.
Anyone else have any questions floating around out there? Amy, go ahead.
So since this has been brought up, Jules, that Sanskrit book that he was interested in buying, was that this one that we're talking about now, or was that a different book?
It's a different one. It's the Egyptian Book of the Dead, I believe.
Okay, yeah. I'll keep an eye on that one from now on too.
They want to keep it behind.
You might want to go put 2 tags in that book, Amy.
At least, yes.
You keeping an eye on the sardonic manuscript obviously worked really well.
It worked great until Jules went above my head and reshelved it and let Melinda back in without my permission.
I see another origami horse coming.
So,
all right, so go ahead, Mark, go ahead.
So Amy, you said that you pretty much keep touch of everything, but when you're checking out books or stamping, your eyes are off that area. Am I not correct?
You don't think I can stamp without looking down? I've done this for quite a few years.
I don't know. I mean,
besides, I'm not only looking, I'm listening. I'm very aware of everything that's going on.
You know, I've heard some school children say that coming into Amy's library is akin to walking into the high stress zone
the conversation
in Calcutta. So
what?
They're just not used to being professional and quiet like they're supposed to be. They will get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have time for one last question. Kristoffer, what is your last question? Then we'll be done.
Okay, this is for Amy. Amy, I'm kind of wondering, Well, Jules and Deborah have been plotting to steal the manuscript and frame you with the origami horses that you make because you do the origami. Did it ever occur to you, because you are so straight-laced, that the only way to maybe remove you from the equation, because you would be watching everything, might be to get rid of you and fire you?
That does kind of actually sound very true. Maybe they're framing me for this just to try to get rid of me and have an excuse to get rid of the best librarian ever, because obviously there's no other reason to get rid of me. So I
Except
think
you
Makes you
just
wonder,
let
makes you wonder
valuable
who the brains
manuscripts
is, doesn't it?
walk out the door. I mean, all.
Okay, everybody. All right. I think things are starting to get a little out of control. You've all been at each other since this theft was discovered, and we're still not getting any closer to the truth. I think it would be a good idea if we just all took a step back, breathe, and consider the clues we've discovered so far. Marianne, how about we have one of your employees at the cafe bring us over some beverages just to kind of calm the group. We've been at this for hours, and I think we're entitled to a break. I don't want anyone to leave the room yet until I close it for the night. So Amy, would you please use your speakerphone, call the cafe for us so that we can place our orders that way? Marianne's cafe is really well stocked. You can
Yes.
order just about anything. So don't worry, Marianne. As president of the Friends of the Library Society, I'll be sure that you're reimbursed. And no, Jules, this will not come out of your budget.
And nobody is allowed to spill anything on the books either.
You heard it from the tyrant. Okay, so suspects only. We're going to go around the room so that you can make your beverage request. Marianne, since it's your cafe, what would you like the cafe to bring you as a beverage for today? What is your favorite liquid writing fuel?
Iced tea.
Okay, perfect. Who's next? Ruby, what would you like them to bring over for you?
Dairy-free mocha, please, with a little bit of cinnamon.
Perfect. Jules, what about you?
Well, typically it's coffee with cashew milk and monk fruit. So
Okay. Chloe, what would you like to drink?
Cocoa with a big glug of Irish cream.
I like it. Deborah Reed, what about you?
I would just like some coffee.
Just coffee?
Just coffee.
Boring?
I'm not that complicated.
Wow.
Well, I need cream. Need cream in there. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Amy, what about you? What would you like?
I just want a glass of water, because water is not going to stain anything if it happens to spill. So just a glass of water would be fine.
That's very
boring.
Yeah.
Safe is the word.
Melinda, what would you like the cafe to bring you to drink today?
Well, I really have my heart set on a triple venti mocha with the little chocolate sprinkles on top. And you know, let me change my mind. I think I'll go with a cold brew. But I still want some whipped cream and some chocolate sprinkles. And let's see. Is it possible to get a muffin with that?
No food in the library. Amy would have my head. I'm not going that far with it. And Andrew, what would you like the cafe to bring you to drink today, sir?
I'd like one of them there whole milk chai lattes with cinnamon and ginger, please. The ginger just gives it all. Love it.
Awesome. So now that our beverage orders are on their way, let me remind you that we have a scavenger hunt going on the website right now. We're having super lots of fun with riddles every day. Thank you to Riddle Master Jacob Bullen for all of his hard work on this project. Also, I want to draw your attention to the dead body. Here it is. Authors who are collecting fingerprints. Deborah Reed is in the lead with 107. Andrew Allen Smith with 103. Amy has 91. Chloe has 72. Jen Rinaldi has 68. Jacob Bullen has 57. And Emma Palova has 55.
Yay.
We have had 325 pairs of eyes on our what is this thing? Festival this year. So there we go. So many things to keep track of, you guys. Oh my gosh. So while we are waiting for their beverages to arrive from the cafe, we are gonna do the spinning wheel of happiness and give away a couple of books. We are gonna give away Preethi's book. Hold it up for us one more time, pretty please, if you can. This is Pearls of My Mind, super duper fun. And Kristoffer's book, which is The Beautiful Moment. So there's what we're gonna do. You know, Marianne, I really appreciate that the cafe is right next door, but they're really taking their time bringing that stuff over. I mean, I know Melinda's request was a little complicated.
Yes, a little complicated.
But
and I've had a couple of call-ins as well. So
wow.
Lumbo is taking
what the
care
heart
of it.
wants.
Yeah, well, I would recommend you get a couple more employees, because
That would be nice.
Just saying.
Plus,
Okay.
I didn't get to order. I didn't
Okay.
get to place my order, Marianne.
Well, you'll have to do it after we're done here this evening. We can only do so much in one night. Okay, so here we go. We are going to do the spinning wheel of happiness. Let me see if I can share this screen. I always wonder about this. Double check the sound, because that's another thing I forget to do. There we go. Okay, so the first book we're going to be giving away is Preethi's book, Pearls of My Mind. Ready? Here we go. Congratulations. Okay, next we're going to give away Kristoffer's book, The Beautiful Moment. Oh, look at that, you guys, right on the line.
Wait. Spin again.
Are you sure? Oh, he's already got it.
He's already got it.
Ooh, I'll take it. I want it.
Why doesn't that surprise me that you've already got it? Okay, I'm going to spin the wheel again for Kristoffer's book.
I think he already has it too.
Make sure you send the dress to mail it to.
Okay, we're gonna try this. You know, it's the night before break. I'm tired, guys. Okay, here we go. See, this really proves to you how random the spinning wheel of happiness is. I'm not setting this up. Okay, here we go. Excellent. So everybody, you know how this is done. If you're brand new, let me show you the instructions for claiming your prize, the nightly loot. If your name appeared on the spinning wheel of happiness, please send an email to me at diana@pagespromotions.com with your mailing address, and we will ship out your book just as soon as we can. All the books will be shipped out by March 5th. So make sure that if you won, you send me that, and make sure it gets to me within the next 24 hours, because I have enough to do in my to-do list. Only so much time in the day. All right. Now is the time we're going to do something. We've reached the middle of the month, and I'm curious to see what all of you think. Have you cracked the case yet? Do you know who stole the missing sardonic manuscript? In just a second, I'm going to put up an instant poll, and you can tell us who you think did it. But first, I'm going to tell you that compliments of the Haley Sue Foundation tonight, everyone, let me underscore that, everyone who slings a correct accusation and fingers the thief will win this 6 ebook anthology collection of all of the anthologies we have produced since we started them with Simple Things way back, I think, during COVID. So there are 6 of them. Simple Things, The Drifter, The Gift, The Portrait of Herbert Losh, By the Seat of Our Pants Madness, and Monster Hunter Intern. All of those will be sent to you in e-book format, completely and utterly free of charge for everyone who slings a correct accusation. So
and what about that slicer dicer julienne fryer that they get too there, Diana?
You know what? The Haley Sue Foundation is an amazing organization, but they don't have those in stock right now. So we're gonna have to live without them. So let me throw up the poll. Here we go. So who took the sardonic manuscript?
Right,
Everybody gets to vote. Everybody gets to vote. If you registered, let me preface that by saying if you registered before you came in today, and I think everyone had to, everybody vote. Tell me who you think stole the book. Who did it? Thank you, Marianne, for providing all of the beverages from your cafe. I see they have just arrived. I don't know about any of you, but this is certainly going to help me think through the clues and come up with new interrogation questions while we are off tomorrow. So thank you, Marianne, for being so accommodating.
You're certainly welcome. It's what I do.
Well, and you're very good at it.
Want to see something fun while you're answering? I'll let everybody see something fun while we're answering.
Just Book of the Dead. Well done. I'm coming to your house, Andrew, because that's been on my reading list for a while. I may have to come sit in your library for a couple
This
of
one
hours.
has the complete translations with the hieroglyphs. It's good to teach yourself a lot.
Yeah.
Are you sure that's not a fake cover?
Are you sure
And
that's
it's
not the
the
copy
real
that
one
belongs
that's
in
been
our
stolen?
library?
There we go. See?
Not a fake cover. Can you read it?
Andrew's got a very complete library.
You got a Bible, Joe?
Do I have which pick
Gutenberg?
one?
The Gutenberg? Do you have a Gutenberg?
No, I don't have a Gutenberg. Handwritten Bibles are hard to get.
Gutenberg wasn't handwritten. It was the first printed
It was the
Bible.
first press
See,
one.
leave it to the librarian to know these things.
The German
That was very
library,
good.
the
Because
German
it was
one.
the first press.
Okay, we have 2 people that have still not answered the poll. If you haven't answered the poll, please throw in your accusation before I close this.
Where is the poll?
It should be on your screen in front of you. Can you
Do
see
the
it, Andrew?
suspects get one?
Yes, all the suspects should be voting as well because none of them knows who did it. I didn't tell any of them in advance. I'm really,
but somebody will know because they're the one who did it.
but I am super proud of myself for keeping a secret for 13 days, people. I'm not good at this. So, okay, everybody has, I have 28 out of 28. I have 100% participating. So we are going to pull this. And again, when I show you the results, everybody who has who figured it out, you will, because we'll reveal in just a moment another clue to let you know what's going on here. But everybody who figures it out at the end of the month, you will get the set of 6 ebooks. I will send it to the email address that you registered with. Okay.
You're not giving away the answer now.
I'm not.
Okay, gotcha.
Not yet. We're only halfway done.
That's why I was confused.
The madness is only halfway done. All right. You ready for this? I wish I had a snare drum. I don't have a snare drum.
Deborah, Deborah, Deborah.
That's not a snare drum. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm ending the poll. I'm sharing the results. You ready? 43% of you think Andrew Allen Smith stole the book.
So no.
21% of you think Deborah took it. 4% of you think Amy took it. 7% think Jules took it. 4% think Melinda took it. 4% think Marianne took it. And 7% think Ruby took it. So holy moly, you guys, you're all beaten up on Andrew. I don't know. So again, everybody, thank you very much. Marianne, thank you again for the beverages. Everybody grab your cups.
Welcome.
Let's do a toast to the first act of our mysterious mystery of the missing manuscript. Cheers.
Cheers.
Wait, ladies and gentlemen, don't leave yet. This is important. There has been a murder. A murder most foul. There lies Andrew Allen Smith, apparently poisoned.
Oh my God.
to
that's
death.
funny.
I knew it wasn't him. I knew it.
I direct your attention to the floor in front of the circulation desk. Stop. No one go near the body, but take note. The jacket from Mr. Smith's book, The Way of the Antiquities, lies there next to his body, and he's clutching the sardonic manuscript close to his heart. It appears that Mr. Smith has been lying to us all along. He was attempting to divert attention away from himself as the thief long enough to smuggle the book out of the library. But who has committed this heinous murder and why? Return on February 15th to discover what comes next in Act 2. Good night, everybody.
Right.
You're leaving us at that.